Kids, teens, even me, you can be your own worst critic. This is particularly true if you've had a mental health disorder. You may be especially down on yourself. You can get stuck in negative thinking patterns that contribute to depression, amp up your anxiety, or make painful emotions feel overwhelming. If you weren't invited to a birthday party, you may decide that everyone who went to the party hates you. If you forget a line in the school play, you may insist you ruin the whole performance. These negative thinking patterns are often unrealistic, but they can have significant impacts on our emotions, behaviors, and worldviews. Mental health experts call them cognitive distortions. They're also sometimes referred to as cognitive errors, thinking mistakes, or thinking errors. Some amount of cognitive distortion is normal. We all make thinking mistakes. It's when that kind of thinking is chronic and entrenched that thoughts are likely affecting your emotional life. In cognitive behavioral therapy, you're taught to recognize common cognitive distortions that may be making you feel bad, but whether or not you're in therapy, it can help to recognize and identify them when you see them. In this video, I'm going to help you look at 11 common categories. 1. All or nothing thinking. It's also referred to as black and white thinking or dichotomous thinking, and it's seeing things in only two categories, so either good or bad, black or white, and with no shades of gray. A common distortion that makes you think and therefore feel that something might need to be all of something or none of something, when in reality it might be sort of the shades of gray in the middle. Black and white thinking can also be thinking that you have to perform well on everything. It can relate to perfectionism and this feeling that if you didn't do well, you've totally failed. As one example, you might get a bad grade on a test, and you might think, if I didn't get that A+, then I'm a complete failure. Those are the kinds of cognitions we really want to target. The second kind of cognitive distortion, emotional reasoning. This is believing that because you feel something, it must be true, even when there's no evidence other than the feeling. For example, I feel lonely right now, this must mean no one likes me. Or, I feel afraid to go in that elevator or ride on a plane or go in that car, and therefore these must be dangerous places. Number 3, overgeneralization. This is taking one negative event or detail about a situation and making it a universal pattern that you think might be true about your whole life. For example, this person doesn't want to hang out with me right now. This must mean no one ever wants to hang out with me. Or, I messed up the chemistry experiment today. This must mean I never do anything right. Number 4, labeling. This is where when you put a negative label on yourself or someone else, so you no longer see the person behind that label. When you lock someone in place like that, your understanding becomes so rigid, there's no wiggle room for you to see yourself or another person differently. And you might see new information about that person and not even integrate it because you still think of that label. For example, I fell down trying to score a goal in soccer today. I'm a horrible klutz. That's the label. I didn't have anything to say in that conversation. I'm totally uninteresting. That's me labeling myself. May not be true, but we all kind of feel that it could be. Number 5, fortune telling. This is predicting something is going to turn out in a negative way. This can become a pessimistic way of viewing the future, and it can impact your behavior, making the event you're fortune telling more likely to turn out badly. For example, I know that I'm going to do horribly on that test, so you panic and you perform less effectively on it. Or if I reach out to this person, or if I ask this person out, they're not going to want to talk to me, or they won't accept me, or they won't necessarily go out with me. So for that reason, I just shouldn't reach out, and I shouldn't take a chance on connecting with someone I might want to get to know better or have a relationship with. Number 6, mind reading. This is when you assume that you know and understand what another person is thinking, and typically you're sure it reflects poorly on you. For example, I'm talking, and the person I'm talking to, I might be reading their body language and it doesn't seem like they're paying attention. Maybe their eyes are looking away. I'm sure they don't like me. In fact, it might be they're distracted by some stressful news they've received, or stressed about something unrelated to you and they're having a hard time focusing. Number 7, catastrophizing. This can also be called magnification. It's taking a problem or something negative and blowing it up out of proportion. For example, this party is going to be the worst experience ever. Or, if I don't get a base hit right now, I am going to die of embarrassment. Number 8, discounting the positive. This can also be called minimizing. So this is taking something positive that actually happens to you, that's good, and minimizing it so it doesn't count as a good thing in your life. It discounts any evidence against our negative view of ourselves or our situation. For example, I did well on this one quiz, but clearly I just got lucky. Or, this person said, I love hanging out with you, but she's just being nice to me. She doesn't actually really mean it, and that can't be genuine. Number 9, mental filter. This can also be called selective abstraction, which is a very wordy way of saying, I see only the negative instead of looking at all the positive or neutral aspects of an experience. For example, you write a paper for a teacher. They give you plenty of positive comments on the side, but you spelled something wrong. And all you can think about is that you embarrassed yourself by that misspelling. Or you have many positive conversations with friends or kids you go to school with in a day, and one in which you say something embarrassing. And you focus with horror the rest of the day only on that embarrassing statement you made, forgetting all the other positive social interactions you had. Number 10, personalization. This is making things about you when they are not. This includes blaming yourself for what's beyond your control or taking things personally when they're not intended to be harmful for you. For example, if I hadn't demanded so much of my caregivers, maybe they wouldn't be getting a divorce. Or, how dare that person walk in front of me? That was so disrespectful, when the person just didn't notice you and maybe cutting you off was an honest mistake. Number 11, imperatives. This is where we think in shoulds or musts, or the inverse, should nots and must nots. For example, I should be able to give presentations in class without feeling any anxiety. What is wrong with me that I can't do this? Of course, thinking this way, on top of already feeling nervous, makes you even more nervous about speaking and amplifies that emotion. So learning about cognitive distortions like this and recognizing them can help you not just to be able to label when your thinking might be causing you to feel more negatively, but can also help you to think positively. Practicing noticing negative thinking with a parent or friend to help you understand that we all make mistakes can help you to feel supported and can also help you to learn how to correct them. So learning about cognitive distortions and recognizing them can help you to get to a point where you can notice when you're thinking in this way, in a way that might amplify those negative emotions, and can also lead you down the path of maybe practicing more positive thinking. So what you can do is maybe with a parent or a caregiver or a friend or someone supportive in your life, practice noticing that negative thinking, non-judgmentally as much as you can, just to help you understand that we all make little thinking errors sometimes, and we can learn how to correct them and maybe have a better effect on our emotions. To learn more, visit the Child Mind Institute Family Resource Center, which has hundreds of articles and guides to help you support children who are struggling with mental health or learning disorders. You can find the link in the description below. I'm Dr. Dave Anderson, a clinical psychologist at the Child Mind Institute. Thank you for watching. And if you found this video useful, please like and subscribe to our channel below.